And welcome back. Today we are going to make the Earth. Oh, Earth, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Earth, one of my favorite planets because it's life-bearing, because I live here. I love Earth, you know, and not enough people love Earth. What about Earth, you know? What is it about Earth? Who speaks for Earth? It's every human's place of birth. A planet of immeasurable worth, and how delightful that it's round. So we are going to make a model in Earth today. Let's jump in to Blender, okay? Now we got this default cube right here. We're going to delete that sumbitch. Shift A and add a UV sphere, okay? Just like that. Now what I'd like to do is you can bump this up if you want to. I'm fine with these defaults as it is. That's fine. We can add a subdiv and just make it a little smoother if you need to. You can also just right click and shade smooth, and then just like that we got a nice smooth surface. If you are a flat earther and you're here, I just want to say welcome to the channel. I don't know how happy you're going to be with the outcome because we will be modeling a spherical Earth. But look, if you are a flat earther and for real you think that Earth is flat, what I would say to you is go to the edge, man, and take a picture. Snap that, you know, throw that on IG, right? I mean, that'd be wild. I'd love to see that here. I'm going to add a plane real quick. So this is essentially what a flat earther sees. So there's edge. We're surrounded by edge. You can go there, man. Go there and take a picture, okay? I don't think you're going to find it personally because there is a shape of planet around which one may walk without ever leaving the surface. Anyone? Bueller? That's right, it's a sphere. Also, sunrises and sunsets would be pretty challenging if it was a flat earther, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's begin. So we have a sphere and we have shaded it smooth. Let's label up here our sphere Earth. Okay, shabam, we got Earth. Now let's get rid of this light right here, like that, and I'm gonna hit 1 to go into front view. And I'm going to hit Control-Alt-0, and there's my camera view. So what I did right there, any view you want to go in, if you go into that view, and then if you hit Control-Alt-0, it puts the camera on that view. So if you ever think, man, how do I get the camera to this specific angle? Just get to that specific angle, you know, move in the environment to that specific angle, and then just hit Control-Alt-0, and it kind of locks that in. So we have a camera there, great. Now we need a light. Okay, so I'm going to add a sun right here. We're going to Shift A to add a light down here, and then we're going to add a sun. Okay, and I just want to see what that looks like. So I'm going to go to rendered viewport up here, the viewport shading rendered mode up here, and you see how it's a little gray. Space doesn't look like that. Space is dark. You know, black is not a color, right? Black is like true black, spatial black, absolute black is not a color. It is the absence of color, and that's why space looks the way it does. So we can hit the world icon right here, this red world icon right here in our properties panel, and you see we got this gray right here on color. Just click that gray and then just slide it all the way down, and you see our world changing. Now if you want a little space, if you want a little color, go ahead, that's fine. If you want it true black, go get them, Tiger. If you want it to be white, right, like you're in some kind of celestial afterlife, afterworld, maybe heaven, maybe paradise, you know, the Elysian fields of the ancient Romans, one of the afterlives of human mythologies, or I think it was a train station in the Harry Potter myth, then that's cool, you know, run with it. I'm not here to judge. I am here to compare mythologies, though, and I do so freely, but I'm going to have my space be blackness down here, okay? And all I'm doing is dragging this wheel up and down, okay? That's it. That's all I'm doing. So now I've created kind of a space, and I have my light selected, my sun selected. I'm going to G on the Z and bring it up, okay? G to grab, grab. Z is the axis that we're moving, okay? And then I'm going to click a strength. I want to bump this strength up to, let's try 4. Okay, that's not bad. And if you want to go 5, this is to taste here, okay? And all I did to get here was click on the light bulb in my properties panel, okay? If that's too bright for you, go 3. Excuse me, that's a 1. That's strange. Go 3 right there. Okay, I'm gonna keep it at 4 for now. For now, I might change it later. Heck, I'm probably gonna change it later. Okay, that doesn't make you a bad person. And you can see this dark side of the sphere is not lit at all because the sun is coming down. Another way that we know the Earth is round, because if it was a plane, well, here, let's look. Let's Shift A and add a plane, and I'm gonna grab it up, and the whole plane is lit right here. The whole plane is lit. Okay, there's no part of the plane that is in darkness except the underneath, but do people just fall off? Like if there's an edge, I presume you fall off. I mean, if gravity is pulling something, it would pull it towards the center and create a sphere position like this. And so now the rotating spherical Earth creates the light for half of the world, while the other half is in darkness. And to test this, that's what science is, man. Observation and reason and experiment. That is the method that we call science. You can watch a sunrise in New York City and call you should FaceTime someone in Japan, and you'll watch the sun fall in Japan as it's coming up in New York. Also, flat earthers, what you should do, you guys should organize. What I would like you to do, and I would love, tag me in this experiment. I will help organize this experiment for flat earthers. I would love to do this. You should find another flat earther in every time zone around Earth, and you should all organize a phone call at the exact same time. Okay, so if you have one flat earther in every time zone on Earth, and you should have one giant Zoom or Google Hangout session or Facebook talk. I don't know what Facebook's Zoom equivalent is, but get on the phone so you can see each other, and you should show each other where the sun is in that moment on that call relative to where you are on our spherical planet. And that might help illustrate the roundness of our pale blue dot. So that said, that's just another way that you can check for yourself and see with your own eyes. Okay, so we haven't put materials on, and I want to see the bottom half of my sphere. So I am going to bring the lights up just a scotch for now, just so we can see. But I am going to make this black at the end. If you want to remove this, see this grid right here? If you ever want to remove this grid, you can just do it up here. See this button? Just click that, and then now we have the infinite frontier. Okay, now we have deep space. Niner. I'm going to hit N and T to get rid of my toolbars on the side. And now we need to add some textures, some materials to our blue marble. So I'm going to split the screen right here. And if you've never done that before, it's super easy to do. Okay, watch, I'm just bringing my mouse up here. Wait for it, and it goes from an arrow on the mouse to a crosshair. That's what I'm looking for. That's the money. That's the good stuff. I'm going to click and drag, and just like that, I got two screens. And I'm going to bring this over here. And so this is what this is the rendered view of my sphere looks like. And this I have just in material, just kind of in a 3D modeling environment. It takes far fewer resources to work on this one than it does in this one. As we add more and more stuff, this one can lag a little bit because it takes time to render. This one not so much. So I'm going to bring these back on, and you can see it's still a little divoted. Okay, so let's add a subdivision surface modifier. Look at that. Okay, the shabam, right? So all I'm doing is adding. Look, see here, it's not that. It's a little wobbly, which I mean, you can keep that because it's not a perfect circle. We're going to add a subdivision surface modifier, and there we go. That's just much smoother. Okay, that looks pretty. So we have Earth selected. We have our viewport shading solid. We're ready to work. We have our rendered viewport over here, and now we're going to get into nodes, okay? And you can do this if you've never messed with nodes before. Nodes are the future. Nodes are the way, the lamb, the light, and the redeemer. You really want to get into nodes. And this will be a gentle introduction into the world of nodes. If you've heard somebody talk about procedural shading, they're talking about nodes. And nodes are just the coolest, man. And we get the node. It was called the node editor. Now it's the shading editor. And that's okay. So we're going to come up here and go shader editor. All right, that's this right here. This is our 3D viewport. This little drop-down menu. We're going to click it, and then just hit shader editor, just like that. Are you with me? Man, I hope so. And you're like, what? Where to go? Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. All right, you can keep this active toolbar there if you want to, or you can N it away. Just hit N and it goes away. You hit N, you bring it back. If you get lonely and you need it there, that's fine, bring it back. If you don't need it there, you just get rid of it. Okay, that's no problem. Before we move forward, now that we kind of have an environment set up with a little bit happening, let's save our work with Control S. Okay. And so there, now we can start from here. If something crazy happens, or if it crashes, or whatever, we'll be okay. Now, before we move forward, I want you to enable an add-on called Node Wrangler. Okay, so if you go to Edit, Preferences, then our preferences pop up. If you hit Add-ons right here, go to Search, and there should be, just type in Node right here. You should see an add-on called Node Wrangler. I've already checked mine because I've activated it, but if you haven't, you should just activate that real quick, and it should come pre-packaged in Blender by default. And this thing, it just makes your life a little bit easier. You can just hit some shortcut keys, and it adds nodes that are kind of textbook that we're gonna use more than once. Okay, are you with me? So you should have a spherical Earth down, a file saved, a sun lamp pointing on our spherical Earth, and the Node Wrangler activated. You good? Excellent. So now let's add some materials. Okay, so let's click New. All right, all I did was up here. Here, watch. I'll get rid of that so you can see me do it again. Up here, this is the material icon, and you can see right here it matches right here. We have the material properties where we can mess with materials manually, or in the shader editor, we have it up here as well. So I'm going to click New, shabam, okay, and this should just pop up. This is a principled BSDF. You can RTFM if you want to know more about that. This is, it's also known as the Disney shader. Okay, now if you have Node Editor enabled, if you hold your mouse over the principled BSDF and hit Control T, 3 nodes pop up just like that. Okay, I'm going to Control Z to undo that so you can see me do that again. If you're just holding your mouse over, it's not going to work. Click it and you see that white line activates around it. Okay, now if you hit Control T, these 3 pop up, and this is such a common feature in the world of nodes that this is what Node Wrangler. I would have had to hit Shift A to add an image texture, and then Shift A to add a mapping node, and then Shift A to add a texture coordinate, and then connected all of them, and then plugged it into the base color. Instead, Control T just takes care of it automatically. This is just a good shortcut, and it kind of streamlines the process, streamlines the workflow. So now we want to add an image texture to our model. Okay, so we're going to get our image from NASA. Cool. Okay, so let's go to NASA's Visible Earth. This is funded by the American taxpayer. Anyone can use it, which is outstanding. It's just a gift from science to the world. So pick a month. Pick whichever month you want to. I'm going to go with, I was thinking about going with October because I really like the blues in the ocean right there. But you know what? I'm a June baby. So I'm just going to go, I'm going to get some June topography and bathymetry. Shabam. We got June looking sharp right here. And then pick a June that you want to run with. I'm going to go with this one. Okay, that's pretty. And then I'm going to hit that. And this is satellite image. Okay, so this is NASA absolutely crushing it. Like a boss. Satellites, this is what. So I guess if you are a flat earther, is this what your Earth looks like? In any event, save this image. And then we come over here in image texture. We find our image texture node right here. We go open. We're going to pick our world topography that we just downloaded from NASA. Thank you, NASA, you beautiful sons of guns. We're going to open image, and look at that. Boom. We just made Earth, and we put Earth on it. How about that, y'all? How pretty is that? Oh, what a thing of beauty. I mean, look, it took one of the sky gods of ancient mythology a whole day to make this Earth. We just knocked it out inside about 20 minutes. And that is cause for celebration, but we're not done. We can do better. This is pretty, okay? And now that we have this, what do we want to do? What's the first thing we want to do? You guessed it, save our work. Okay, I want to turn my sun up just a scotch. Okay, gravy. Now, Earth is shiny. All right, so we need to add some shine onto this planet. We're going to do that by adding a mix shader and a glossy node. So click and drag this material output like this, okay? Then we're going to Shift A to add a new node and just come down to shader and go mix shader. Now, if you have any idea what a mix shader does, you're about to find out. All I have to do is drop this new, and my fingers aren't on any buttons. I'm not clicking and dragging. I'm just moving my mouse. It's kind of stuck to my mouse. And when I click, see how watch this line turn white, like that right there. Okay, if I click on that, it just automatically connects itself, which is great. That's just Blender being fancy pants, as it were. Now we want to add a glossy node as well. So Mix Shader does exactly that. It takes, you can see it has inputs from two shaders, and it's going to mix them into a single output. Okay, so we want to add a glossy node. Okay, if I'm on shader right here, just hit glossy BSDF. And if I didn't know that glossy was in the shader tab, I could just come up here to search and just start typing glossy, and it finds it for me. Blender's great like that. So I'm going to bring this up right here, drop it down. I'm going to take this output node and bring it right in to this shader input like that. And now, holy cow, now you got way too much shine, and we're going to have to bring that down. But you can see what we're doing. So we want to reduce this shine, this high polished shine on the Earth. And to do that, we want to create a mask. We want to mask the Earth so only the water is hit with this level of reflection. Now we're going to need another image texture. So we're going to click, drag over these three, Shift D, and we're just going to create another one. And I'm just gonna, you can move these two with grab. The same way we grab 3D models, we can grab nodes, okay? I'm gonna middle mouse click and bring these up here. Okay, now you can get an ocean mask from NASA. This right here. This didn't work for me. This was just oblong on my machine, and it caused me great frustration. So I looked around on the information superhighway and found a USGS data survey at this site, Shaded Relief. This guy, Tom Patterson, the U.S. National Park Service, who makes data visualizations of Earth from space and just gives them to the world to do, I assume, stuff like we're doing. So if you take a look at terms of use, here we go. Everything on this website is in the public domain, so we definitely have old Tom's permission to use this. Thank you, Tom. Hat tip, you old such and such. And this here, now we have a mask. Where's the mask? You son of a bitch. So click over in extra data, and this land water mask actually works. So I'm going to link to this in the description. If you can get NASA's ocean mask working, hey, more power to you. For me, it was oblong on my machine. It was almost like it was backwards. And I even tried an inverted node, and that still didn't work. And I just thought, I'm just wasting too much time trying to troubleshoot this. Let's just, because it's such a tiny part of what we're trying to do. So just let's get this and move forward. So this is what you're going to want to download right here, the land water mask, okay? And there'll be a link to this in the description. You with me? Outstanding. So let's go back into Blender. And then here we want to find our mask, okay? You with me? Now we got our water mask, and all this is good here. And then we want to middle mouse click. We want to take this color output and connect it into the mix shader factor input. And watch what happens, okay? Did you see that? How, so now, there's here, look, let me undo this. Okay, and you got that high polish shine over some land mass, and that high polish shine over some water. But when we connect this to add this map, now we can see the Earth. And really important, because this is not a color image, this is black, it's a map, we always want this to be in non-color right here. Okay, so that's kind of important. Now that we've done that, outstanding, and we can actually see the bodies of water running through America. It's got to be the Mississippi. It's got to be the mighty Mississippi right here. Look at that. Bodies of water. What a pretty thing that is. It's gorgeous. Okay, everybody with me? Outstanding. Save your work. Now we have, you'll notice that our ocean is still pretty gone, right? It's pretty, it's blinded by the light. Okay, so we need to tone this down, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Man, you got this. You're going to do great. Okay, let's middle mouse click to create some space. I'm going to take my glossy BSD, just bring it over here, and you can move these around. We want to, it's going to get busy, and we want to make sure that our workspace is as best it can be manageable, navigable. Okay, so into our glossy node right here, we're going to add something called a Fresnel. And you might be asking yourself, what the hell is a Fresnel? And, well, we're going to talk about that right now. So Fresnel deals with the angle of reflection. Our TFM computes how much light is reflected off a layer, where the rest will be refracted through the layer. A reflector bounces the light back, and refracting kind of bends light. Right? So this is how we know what stars are made of. We refract it by way of a process called spectroscopy. It's where we essentially break apart the light and get to see its fingerprint, right? And every element has a different fingerprint. And this is how we know that the sun is made of hydrogen, and that's kind of off topic, but okay. Anyway, that's Fresnel. It has to do with types of reflection, which makes sense because that's what we're dealing with right here. Okay. Now we need another mix shader because we're going to mix. So we're going to Shift A, and you can either search for it or you can mix shader. Okay. We're going to add that right there. We want to tie the main shader into this mix shader. So we're just going to grab another output and throw it into this input right here. Okay. And then we're going to connect the Fresnel, and we can, here, just so we can kind of see what's happening, we're just going to go factor to factor. Okay. And let's see what happens. Anything? There we go. How pretty is that? You see, before we didn't have any ocean at all, and now we got all those blues. Look at those blues. How pretty of an ocean. It's coming alive, y'all. Earth, there we go. Let there be light indeed. And on the first day, we made the earth. Okay? Great job, you guys. Everybody saves your work. Okay, so now, if you look at our model, this is pretty. The colors are pretty, all right? But it's still flat. And we have some, Earth. One of my favorite parts about Earth is that it's not flat at all. We got some mountains, y'all. We got some plains. We got some redwoods. We got some crevices. Anywho, okay. So now we need to add some height. This is a lot of different things. This can be called a bump map. This can be called a height map. This can be called a normal map. It's a lot of different things. Okay. Here, let's come down here and go like this. Let's Shift D this image right here and bring it down here like this. Okay, now that we've duplicated our image texture mapping coordinates and we're ready for an image, let's go grab an image. And again, I'm going to use the bump map from the US National Park Service. Okay, and it's right here. Large bump map. Okay, I'm just going to download that. Take your time, and you can kind of see. You can see, what are these? Is that the Andes right there? Just crushing it. Right, pretty high up. Okay, so let's save this elevation bump map. Great. What's this guy's name again? I want to thank this guy again. His name is Tom. Yeah, Tom Patterson. Good on you, Tom. Okay, so now we have our bump map. We're going to jump back into Blender. Open the image texture. There's our elevation bump map. Okay. It's a map. Remember what we do with maps. We make them non-color data. And then we will bring this over and plug it into a bump node. So look for bump node. There it is. Okay. And now this takes this image, runs it through a bump node. And what a bump node does is it creates the illusion of depth, of three-dimensional depth or height, right? Like if you have a mountain range or a canyon or something like that. So then we connect the normal to the normal, and we should oh, look at that. And now we have some, this is way too intense, but you can see that we have, there's some form happening on our pale blue dot, okay? And it's only happening on the land, not the water. Are y'all with me? Man, I hope so. Everybody save your work. So first, let me just check the roughness on our glossy over here. I just want to see what this does if we bring this down, okay? You can just click and drag. And, oh, that's pretty. I think I might want that at about, see, we were at 0.5 before, and that was like a little too much, like a marble. What if we bring it down to 0.3-ish? Yeah, that's pretty. Okay, so I'm going to go 0.3. Okay, if you want to keep it at 0.5, go ahead. But I like to, there's a couple different variations of tones of blue here that I think are just really lovely. So that's fine. And if you want to change it, go ahead, take it and make it your own. So what we're going to do now is mess with the distance. So you can see we've got some and from this deep into space, no way Earth would look this aggro craggish. Okay, so we want to bring the distance down and watch what happens as I click. You see, and it really just kind of mutes. It mutes it. Okay, so now this is a little more accurate, right? Where Western America is there's a lot of depth and a lot of activity, and then the plains are exactly that. They're pretty plain, and we can bring the strength down as well. Okay, so if this is too strong, just bring it down a little bit. That's fine. You go right ahead. Again, take it and make it your own. I might keep it at 2, to be honest with you, just because. And I know. So now this really gets into the realm of, I think we have to keep it at 1. I think at 2, it's almost too stylized. Let me see very quickly. So we're in EEVEE, obviously, but we're probably going to render this out in cycles. I just want to see what this looks like in cycles. Oh, look at that. Cycles, you gorgeous. Oh, you majestic beast. Oh, that's pretty. Now, we move around in EEVEE because you can see when we move around, there's no lag. Okay, this is what makes EEVEE special. It's a real-time rendering engine. We're editing in real time, and we can move around. And then Cycles is a game time rendering engine. It's like when it's game time, when we're ready to render this out, and play for keeps, then we're going to run with the Cycles render engine. And Blender, isn't it just great that Blender has 2 render engines for 2 totally different reasons? That's just, what will they think of next? I don't know. But man, I'm excited to find out. Okay, so we have a pretty looking Earth, and I'm going to jump back into, my CPU. So if you have Cycles, I didn't even see that my CPU is connected. You really want to be operating with the full, breadth and depth of your system's capabilities. So if you have a GPU, if you don't have one, that's okay, keep going, but look to get one in the future. If you do have a GPU, then good on you, and that's what we want to be running with. Okay, so we got a pretty good looking Earth, y'all. We can see the Himalayas from space up here, just crushing it. Saudi Arabia, just desert wasteland, a lot of oil. Fertile Crescent up here, okay, nice and green. India, I see you, India, just living your life. Billion people, got 1 billion people. That's so many people. I don't know how you do it. And then we got the Americas. My country, 'tis of thee. Oh, do love that sweet, sweet land of liberty. Viva la libertad. Okay, so let's jump back into it. First and foremost, what are we doing? If you said save your work, you are on the ball today. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to Control S, save my work. Okay, so that right there is stylized. I would absolutely love for this whole series to be as scientifically accurate as possible. But the cold, hard truth of the vast distances of space is that if we were to do a whole solar system to scale with all of the planets, they'll never be in a row, ever, due to the nature of their orbits. But if we were to do that, and where you could see all of them on a plane, on the ecliptic plane, in a row, to get the 4 gas giants in the same frame, and if it was to scale, then the terrestrial planets, the rock and mineral planets, would be invisible. And that's just because of the size and scale and vast distances between the planets, right? So remember, we talked about we're going to do all the planets relative to the distance from the sun. It's Mavem, Jason, okay? Everybody knows somebody named Jason, or if you're a horror movie fan, you remember Jason. So that's how we remember Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And Mavem, Mvem, is the first 4. So out of the 8 planets, we're going to break them up, 2 groups of 4. We're going to do the terrestrial planets, the rock and mineral planets, And then we're going to do the gas giants, and we're going to put them all together, and then we'll do some moons, and then we're going to do some orbits and some rotational patterns, and we're going to build a solar system. And then we'll get some dwarf planets in there as well, because I know some of y'all love some Pluto. Even though he's not a planet, it's like, sorry man, I don't make the rules. And if you're hanging on to that, then you are hanging on to bad science, and that's, well, you're gonna have to give yourself a long, hard look in the mirror and ask yourself why that is. But we have a good surface of the terrestrial planet Earth, and then we also have some outer layers, right? We got some clouds and we got some atmosphere. So everybody save your work, get up, get a stretch, get a bend, and in the next one, we'll build the outside. Okay? So I'll see you in a bit.